York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 663. Quick show note, we canceled X Premium, which means we can't do the shows live on X anymore. So you could check it out, youtube.com/@NYKnicksPodcast or twitch.tv/crumpledbacon or Facebook, which is at @NYKnicksPodcast. But no more on X.
And why did we cancel X Premium?
Pretty sure it's a scam. So last February, they started withholding payments to a lot of smaller accounts, and they told us it was because we violated some rule. They wouldn't tell us what rule or what tweet violated. And then 5 months later, after the playoffs, they said, our bad, and they reinstated us. And then in October, when the season started again, we got a message saying they were suppressing our views. Again, no explanation, no reason. And so we said, all right, screw this. If they're just going to suppress us during the season and let us go in the off season, there's no point in doing this. So
in lieu of promoting our show on Twitter, we still have a Twitter account. In lieu of promoting our show on Twitter, I've been doing a bit of a guerrilla marketing campaign. I don't know if you're aware of it, Jay.
No.
But I've been launching a lot of drones and orbs over New Jersey and other parts of the country. And it's all about the Knicks show, basically. I'm not explaining why I'm doing it, but the drones are kind of everywhere. People are kind of fascinated by it. Soon we'll have the big reveal that all these drones are about the New York Knicks podcast. It's going to be big for the show.
I was going to say you did a good job getting attention to the drones, but nothing indicates it's the podcast. So might be a flaw in the logic there.
I wrote New York Knicks podcast on the orbs, but you have to get pretty close to the orbs to read. I realized they're not that. It's hard to read the orbs from the ground. I realized that was a mistake I made. I'm gonna have to go up there and fix the orbs. Also, I'm gonna work on Anyway, Jay.
Well, anyway, thank you for the Patreon money that Mark put toward.
Plasmoids. I'm gonna work on more plasmoids up there also. Anyway, it's all whatever conspiracy you've heard. It's the New York Knicks podcast. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret, basically, still. Okay, but we're gonna have a big reveal.
In related news, thank you for the Patreon money that Mark put towards orbs and plasmoids. Hope that's what you were expecting. And we also have a Discord. You could find the link on the show notes or any of the places I just mentioned, so you could chat during games with me, not Mark, because he never goes on.
What's better for the show? A blue check on Twitter or the United States government shooting down our drones?
I mean, if you could have at NY Knicks podcast on all the drones, orbs, and plasmoids, that would be good.
Yeah, when Donald Trump makes fun of us on national TV at a press conference, it's going to be ginormous for our show.
Right before we quit.
Right before we go to jail. Anyway, so this show, we are going to go through, it's been about 2 months of the season. We're going to go through player grades, and we're going to talk about how players are doing and what we think, because this is our show. But tonight also, we will try to finish the show before the championship game is coming on soon. Are you excited for the championship game, Jay?
You know, the championship game doesn't count towards those two teams' regular seasons record, but it also doesn't count for fantasy. So now, it
also doesn't count
exist
for fans' interest.
I'm not even going to put my TV on. I don't want any ratings counted toward this thing. If nobody watches, maybe it'll go away and we can be done with this.
My understanding is that if the ratings are down, the solution will be doing multiple in-season tournaments. There just aren't enough of these.
Every 20 games, we'll just have a tournament.
So last show, we weren't completely aware that Knicks were in the quarterfinals of the tournament because who gives a shit?
Well, we also didn't realize that there was a losers game coming up on Sunday.
They played the losers game and beat the Magic. Since last show, they lost to the Hawks. I think generally most fans weren't annoyed that the Knicks got knocked out of the tournament. They were annoyed that they just lost to the Hawks.
Yeah, I don't like losing to the Hawks. Although the whole media has this narrative that Trae Young owns the Knicks. He's 7-14 in his career against the Knicks.
But they only remember the wins. But anyway, and the Knicks beat the Magic. So if the Knicks, just wondering, if the Knicks had beat the Hawks, won the championship tonight, would the Knicks have gotten more favorable coverage, or would just the entire NBA landscape be trolling the Knicks about how pathetic it is that this is our only title in the last 50 years?
I think all of a sudden, all these outlets that are hyping up this stupid tournament would all of a sudden turn and be like, "Oh, it's a meaningless, stupid tournament if the Knicks won." That's what I think would have happened.
You know, also, so LeBron, he won the championship last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked about it this year, and his team wasn't going to win it this year, and he said it's meaningless. Meaningless. Paraphrasing him, he said it's meaningless and kind of stupid. I don't think any player would ever say that about the actual championship or anything that actually mattered.
Right.
You can't see like the year after LeBron wins the title being like, these titles are kind of meaningless. Like, I don't know why we're even trying.
Yep.
That's annoying. The game doesn't count for fantasy sport. I don't know why it doesn't count. Why would it not count for fantasy?
I don't know. It just to make it extra terrible. So now there's so we had 2 weeks combined, the last 2 weeks, which ruined the whole lifetime stats of the 12-year history of the league, because now the week high for every stat is last week. So it just completely ruined like the legacy stats for the league.
Okay, well, whatever.
And then this week there's like a 2 days with like no games. So this week is going to be like I don't know. Each game is going to mean a lot.
Nothing better for the NBA than having random breaks in the season.
Yes. Yeah.
By the way, I also love online. So the ratings are down in the NBA, and people are talking about ways to improve the league. And one thing people keep going is like, you know what's going to be better? Let's do like 66 game season. Do you think the NBA is ever going to be like, you know what would make the NBA better? Us earning less money.
Well, not only that, it's people are watching less, not because there's too many games. It's because of the games. Like we had 75 missed 3-pointers with the Chicago Charlotte the other day.
That's true too. I mean, I'm saying the NBA is not going to reduce the games. They can make the games better. 75 missed threes is absurd.
Well, we were talking about that offline. Just be able to defend the 3-point line the way you could defend under the net. There'll be a lot less threes per game, and it'll go back more towards like normalcy.
Right. By the way, the people's idea, like, well, let's have a 4-point line. A 4-point line would just mean I'm going to watch a game where the team like 50 shots from the half court.
Yeah, exactly. It'll
That's
just
gonna be even worse.
It'll be much worse. Yeah, don't do that.
Just allow players to defend the 3-point line. No more touch fouls at the 3-point line. Make it a little more challenging to shoot a 3. Suddenly, you have to kind of change your game a little bit.
Yep, agreed.
Do you like the idea of having a dunk worth 3 points?
No, I just like allowing, like, you're allowed to have some contact under the net. Allow some contact at the 3-point line. I feel like that would solve the whole problem.
Right. You know, like there's no landing area under the net.
It's weird. It's like the quarterback thing where like you can't touch the quarterback. Like why?
Well, I mean, just like the quarterback's the valuable player, and
okay. Yeah. I mean, the guys under the net aren't valuable. I think Towns is pretty valuable. Like, you're allowed to hack him under the net, though.
So speaking of Towns, and getting back to the Knicks.
Yeah. We're getting to the Knicks for the first time.
Getting to the Knicks. I have to say, I mean, I love his physical play. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that he likes to like take the ball and just drive to the goddamn basket. I don't love that he likes to lower his shoulder and get like every game get 1 or 2 like offensive fouls. I've never seen a player get more offensive fouls. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but he's not getting a lot of defensive fouls. So, like, I mean, it's not like he's in foul.
Lower shoulder.
Well, it's not like he's in foul trouble like all game, every game, which is what.
No, I don't.
The impression that I got that we were going to buckle up for that.
Yes, he hasn't been he hasn't been fouled. I don't think he hasn't fouled out of the game yet. He's been like, he gets in trouble, but then he figures out how not to like play defense, and it works out.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, he constantly kind of drives to the basket, absorbs contact, and goes to the rim. He's not an amazing, by the way, he's not an amazing finisher at the rim. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, but he's a very good free throw shooter, so
Yeah, very good free throw shooter. But here's my concern. He draws contact. A lot of times he falls over. We don't need him injured. He's got to have some other move. He can't always go draw contact at the rim. I know he gets to go to the free throw line and so forth. How about he gets a sky hook? How about he shoots from 5 feet from the basket? He's just a great shooter anyway. He can't always go to the rim because he's going to be injured. I'm every time he goes to the rim and falls over, I'm like, this is the play. We're screwed.
yeah. I mean, the other game he took a lot of threes. I think maybe it depends on matchup. If he thinks he can just overwhelm a guy, he's going to drive more. I don't know. But the Knicks moved into third since our last episode.
Yes. There are plays, though, where I see him go to the rim. He takes such hard contact, it delays Mitch coming back. Mitch gets injured on the play.
Yeah, now they're saying Mitch might not be back till February.
Till February. Holy crap. Mitch will not play a significant number of games for the Knicks this year. I think he will keep this. The injury he'll be back maybe like after All-Star. I know like they're saying like early February. It's probably late February, and he'll be injured.
Well, even if he doesn't get injured again,
we barely see Mitch this season.
Even if he doesn't get injured again, that's about half the season already.
Yeah, and he also like he's not going to be like 100% Mitch right from the start. This is not good.
And Embiid's like, I don't get why people hate me. He may have ruined the entire Knicks season during last year's playoffs, and he wonders why people hate him.
You know who I hate? Oh, I don't know if I hate, but I was amazed watching. So, first of all, the Hawks game, that sucked. We agree the Hawks game sucked.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, the Hawks are decent. Like,
They are decent.
people make like they're a joke. Like, they have a lot of good players. They just aren't consistent.
They lucked into a pretty good situation with getting the number one pick in the draft. I don't know, I forget where they finished, but they had a bad season, but they weren't like the worst team in to any respect. The guy they got looks decent. Obviously, he's not a star yet. Jalen Johnson's pretty good. I mean, Clint Capella's always been pretty good. Dyson Daniels, like, probably a better fit than what's his name was, who they traded for him.
Yeah, well, I think they're the big reason they're good is Lindsey Hunter is healthy. They're really good when Lindsey Hunter plays. He's just always injured.
You mean
DeAndre Hunter? Sorry, DeAndre Hunter. The Hawks had the 10th worst record last season.
Yeah, I mean, but they lucked into the first pick. I mean, they have. If that guy turns out to be pretty good, Reshare, they have something going. I mean, they have a lot of size. I mean, like they got Okongwu, they got Capella, so they got some size. They got Hunter's pretty good. Bogdanovich still can hit shots. Like, they have a decent team.
What wasn't this our
challenge?
Like people were like, you can't flatten the odds because a team in the mid range might win. Like, the Hawks got the number one pick with the 10th worst record. Is it the end of the world?
No, I mean, I just don't like the Hawks, but I'd rather that happen to a different team.
Oh, of course. I around that range was like the Bulls or the Rockets, which would have been fun, or the Grizzlies or something. I don't know, but like, I'm just saying, like, we don't need to reward the Wizards every year. Like,
I think also I would agree. I said last show that I want like the team with the worst record to get punished. I think the teams with the bottom three record should be punished and like move to like picks 4, 5, and 6. The Nets just traded, what's his name? Their point guard.
Schroeder,
yeah, Dennis Schroeder. They traded him for almost nothing.
For Melton, who's out for the whole season.
Yeah, for a guy out for the season, just because the Nets want to, because Schroeder's making him too good, they want to tank better. Like, it's ridiculous to reward this behavior.
It is. They're going to get rewarded now for trading away their starting point guard for nothing. It's insane. I don't like it.
Okay, so the Knicks looked. Well, you know what? I want to rip on someone before we even go into the games. I want to rip on Jalen Suggs. He may be. I know he's supposed to be like a top guard defender as far as a guard. He may be the dumbest player I've seen on the court. He's
also in the top 10 for most inefficient shooting wise.
He's so inefficient. He fouls in almost every play. He had 5 fouls and proceeded just to try to beat the shit out of Jalen Brunson. It was the most ridiculous like sequence where Brunson's like, "What are you doing? I'm trying to dribble the ball up court. Like, what the hell are you doing?"
It was also really weird that they didn't call a foul like the first 4 times. He had to foul Brunson like 5 times on one play for them to call a foul.
Right. There's no hand checking in the NBA anymore, which I think there should be hand checking, but there isn't. And there's so many plays where they're like, yeah, well, he had his hand on the guy's hip. Suggs was like all over him, had his hand on Brunson the whole time, just like bodying him every play. I was like, these are fouls. You cannot just do this in the NBA. You cannot behave like you're a linebacker.
Apparently you can sometimes.
Well, you could. I mean, like, and Brunson eventually like got him to draw the foul, and Brunson's like, yeah, get the hell out of the game.
Right.
Like Suggs like, we're trying to win the game. The most helpful thing I could do is take my inefficient shooting off the court.
Well, it's also weird. I don't know. We complain about the refs a lot, but it's like, oh, it's your sixth foul.
Really,
you can get away with 10 fouls before we call that last foul.
Right. It seemed like they didn't want to call that last foul. And they were letting a lot of contact go. And you were like, but like, it just got ridiculous. It's also like they gave him a bunch of chances. They're like, okay, we're not going to call it. We're not going to call it. Okay, get the hell out of the game. Like, just what are you doing?
Pushed it way too far.
The game was like not like out of hand. The Magic could have come back in the game, and they only lost by 9. I think they were down maybe by 9 or 10 at that point, or maybe a little bit more. But it was one of those plays you're like, why that? You're supposed to right now. You're one of the Magic's best players, and you are behaving as dumb as you can be, basically with 5 fouls.
So you worried about the Magic?
By the way, in that game, most Suggs was a negative 15 in plus minus. Not that plus minus always matters, but Suggs was just a travesty for the Magic that night. Am I worried about the Magic?
Yeah, like when Paolo and Franz come back, like the Knicks were like not handily beating them without their 2 best players. Like, are you worried when they're fully healthy?
Well, last time they had Franz, the Knicks beat the crap out of them.
True, but they didn't have Paolo.
No, they didn't have Paolo. I don't know. I mean, like also like, the other Wagner like had a huge game, which he's not going to have.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with the Knicks is teams with size give them issues. The Hawks have size; they give the Knicks issues, especially when their shots aren't falling. The Magic and the Hawks, I think the Knicks could beat them both in a 7-game series, but they're both going to be tough matchups.
So I saw a report that teams are starting to call the Knicks about Sims. So my question to you is,
what's your question? Like, you're like, how little should we sell him for?
Oh, my question was, did Sims plant that or did Sims' agent plant that?
You really changed topics right there. But
well, I was thinking about size, and I was like, well, maybe the Knicks can trade for a backup big man. And I'm like, well, Sims is drawing interest.
I mean, I feel like you just don't trade Sims because of guys getting injured, and like unless you're trading him for another big. I mean, I like Huck Porter should be ahead of him, but you don't know, like you don't know what's gonna happen the rest of the season. Like you can't give him away for a 2nd-round pick. Like he's still more valuable on the bench than Jacob Toppin is.
Yeah. Yeah. If we were making a Knicks podcast drinking game, one of them would be Mark suggests trading Jacob Toppin.
Yes, I see no point in having him on the roster. And TJ Warren, Jacob Toppin is keeping your spot on the roster warm. I assume when the 10-day contracts start, you will be on the Knicks.
So, speaking of the Westchester Knicks, Shamet recovered and played already. So, he basically destroyed his shoulder, healed, and is playing all before Mitch is back.
Well, I don't know. It's between like the... Mitch can't get healthy, but it's also amazing what the players can do. Like, I would take 3 years to recover from that injury. He's back in a month and a half.
Do you remember when David Lee broke his hip and he missed like 6 games? It was in the war. It was when he was on the Warriors. I'm like, how is that even physically possible?
I'm pretty sure if Jesus had played basketball and died in a game, he would have been back faster than the resurrection. Dun. Okay. Do you want to do player grades?
Sure.
Or anything else you want to add about that? So also, right now the Knicks are in 3rd place, as you mentioned. They're 16-10.
Mm-hmm.
We're tied with the Magic, I guess, but slightly ahead of the Magic in terms of win percentage, whatever. But right now, does anyone really like right now? Cleveland, I still don't think Cleveland's for real. Do you think Cleveland's for real? Are you really scared of Cleveland?
Not really.
They're good, but they're not
right.
Like you're not scared of them for. You feel like the Knicks could beat them in a 7-game series, right?
Yeah.
Celtics remains to be seen. They're obviously really good. I hate the Celtics. But Magic, you could probably beat. The Bucks, you can beat. The Heat are falling apart. Hawks are probably going to pass the Heat, and the Hawks could probably beat. No one's that good in the East right now besides the Celtics, and arguably the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I'm not like the Knicks are a little shaky on, like, they're winning, but
They're shaky.
the games have been a little shaky.
Everything's been shaky. It's a shaky. So let's do the player grades. We're 2 months in. Let's just say where the team is at. Also, just to update you on offensive defensive rating. They're not like perfect ratings, but they kind of give you a sense of where the team is. Currently, the Knicks are they're in third for offensive rating, behind the Cavs and the Celtics, only slightly behind the Celtics. And do you know where the Knicks are for defensive rating?
15th.
16th.
All right.
That's pretty good from like where they maybe a month ago they were like 27th, 28th. Like they really moved up.
Absolutely.
But they've also had these games against teams that just like
They haven't had the
defense
toughest
better,
schedule.
or is are the opponents not that good?
Maybe a little bit of each. They've looked like they're a little more organized on both ends of the court, but they've also had a weak schedule, so maybe a little of each.
Right. Like, did the Knicks hold the Magic to 91 points, or did the Magic's rough shooting hold themselves to 91 points? Little bit of both.
Yeah, I'd say a little bit of both.
I mean, Jalen Suggs missed a lot of shots. I want to say the Knicks defense contributed to that, but Jalen Suggs also just as an inefficient player.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, let's start. By the way, the big thing that scares me with this team is injuries. I am convinced this starting five will not go. There's gonna be an injury at some point, and I'm concerned where the team with this lack of depth. I'm concerned. Obviously, I'm concerned what's going to happen.
I'm annoyed we spent 2 years defending Tibbs and his minutes, and now he's just going nuts with the starters' minutes. Now we look like we were crazy. Like if you look, he had like one guy maybe like 20th in the league in minutes per game last season, and this season the Knicks have like their entire starting lineups in the top 10. It's not good.
Okay, so let's start with Karl Anthony Towns. I'll give you some stats on the guy, and then we can talk about our opinion.
Yeah.
So Towns is, first off, his defense. Obviously, his rim protection has not been great, but he's been getting a little better with defense. One-on-one defense, he's not so bad. It's really team defense, which he kind of struggles with, and he's not great on. Is there anyone in the Knicks that's good on transition defense? Maybe
Hart.
OG.
Maybe Hart.
That's it. Hart, maybe.
Yeah.
The transition defense terrible, but these things I guess will get better over time. But anyway, so Towns currently is shooting 52% from the field, which is one of his 526 from the field, which is one of his higher shooting percentages, higher than last season. He's shooting almost 44% from three. That's would be his highest 3-point percentage of his career. 56% from two. He has almost 14 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, and he's turning the ball over only 2.5 times a game. So his turnovers are actually kind of down.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, and shooting 84% from the free throw line, generally having a pretty good season. If you also look at his splits to see basically how he's done in November versus December, basically his minutes have gone up a tad from November to December. His points have gone down. In November, he's averaging almost 27 a game. In December, he's averaging 21 a game. His rebounding has gone from 13 a game to 17 a game. And overall, his shooting numbers have tweaked. Shooting percentages have gone down a little bit. True shooting percentage, 40% in November, or 64%, and then 60% in December. So tweaked down a little bit. Generally, what are your thoughts on Towns? What grade do you want to give him?
So I'm giving my grades based on expectation going into the season. And
Sure. I actually want you to give it based on my expectation, but I guess you have to use your own opinion.
Well, I mean, like there's a difference. Like a player that's not as good might still get like an A rating because of how you expected him to play.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's fine. Obviously, like you're going to grade him and Towns and McBride differently.
Right. So, I'm going to give Towns a solid A. Like, all the things we heard to be worried about are not happening. He's a way better passer than I thought he was going to be.
Way better.
His rebounding is incredible. He had a 22 rebound game last game. Hasn't.
Yeah, rebounding. The Knicks have been losing the rebound battle in a lot of games, but it hasn't been his fault. A lot of other guys need to like step up in rebounding. Like OG is not an amazing rebounder. Bridges is not an amazing rebounder. I mean, Hart's a good rebounder, but like Towns is doing his job with rebounding.
I would I would argue that he's having maybe his best season of his career. Some of the foul trouble might have been questionable calls. I mean,
there were some questionable calls.
Yeah.
There've absolutely been some questionable calls.
So, we had that Goebel who was born and grew up in Miami, and the Knicks are like never win when he refs. Even Tibbs was like, "Oh yeah, when I saw his name, I knew how the game was going to go." Which is also like, if you're concerned about ratings, maybe not have refs that are so biased that teams never win when they're reffing certain teams.
His plus minus also for the season is an 8.9, which is a pretty good plus minus.
A solid
on off the court.
Might even give him an A plus.
I'll give him an A. His defense still could be better. I would say a few things. So I know he's been really good on offense, but so I mentioned that his stats, he went from like 26 points a game. He's averaging 24 in the season, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and I know you don't want a guy to be like a ball hog, so to speak, or like Towns could be averaging some more points a game.
He could, but look what happened with Bridges between November and December. That's where the other points are going.
That's true. That is totally true. But I think Towns could be a little more selfish on offense because he is such a force. Not that I like his passing, but sometimes I feel like he goes long stretches without being as involved. Not long stretches, but there are stretches in the game where you feel like, hey, is Towns doing that much on offense? Like, he's got to get more involved, End of the game usually ends up with 20 points. But I'd want to see some more 30-point games from him. Like, I feel like he could take over more, and he's not. I feel like he could take over more with his skill set.
I think there was a general effort to get Bridges out of his funk, and I feel like
I completely agree.
Everybody was like dishing to him. Maybe Towns will go up now that it seems Bridges is out of his funk. I feel like there was a concerted effort to have him like elevate his game.
Right. I just think, and by the way, Towns is only averaging 34 minutes a game, which is in line with, actually, he's averaging 30.3 minutes per game, and his career average is 34. So basically, Tibbs is actually doing a good job with Towns' minutes. It's as if he's the one player that has a backup.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I think actually Towns and Brunson are both fine. It's Hart, Bridges, and OG. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
That's where the minutes have gone insane.
Yeah.
But Towns and Brunson's minutes have been totally normal.
Mm-hmm.
Brunson's has also been helped out by him by getting injured for the fourth quarter in multiple games.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it helps that you have Payne and McBride. Like, it's serviceable backups.
I think Towns can be such a mismatch for a lot of teams that I want him being a little more aggressive. He should have more 30-plus games. He's not having enough of those.
Okay,
you may disagree, but I feel like he can be such a disadvantage and open things up for the rest of his team if the other team has to really make a greater effort to stop him.
I think we'll see that. Like I said, there was other reasons why he wasn't as aggressive in December.
Okay. I also just feel sometimes like when he drives to the bat, he would really benefit from spending an off season having a work with someone on post moves. He could really use some post moves.
Yeah.
Because he's so unbelievably talented. I don't know. You remember how the Knicks, every summer, someone would work with Olajuwon?
Yeah.
And maybe Olajuwon's not giving his post-move school anymore, but someone's... he's just so much talent. He doesn't have to always...
I'm sure Olajuwon would. You'd have these guys like Hernan Gomez is working with Olajuwon. You're like, who cares? The guy's not good.
He's like, I'm trying to earn money, okay? Just anyone who wants to come, you're like, Jay and Mark can come. They pay my money. I'll teach them post moves. Okay. I agree with you. An A for Towns. Let's go to Brunson. Brunson is having a pretty good season also. To give you the basic stats on him, he's averaging 34 minutes a game, which is totally within reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging almost 49% from the field, slightly up from last season. 43% from three, up from last season. He is averaging 82% from the free throw line, which is a tad below last year. Even though he also like seems to have missed a lot of free throws in the last few games. But
Speaking of
generally
which,
having a good season.
Jay Shady said, "Hey guys, am I wrong to be concerned about Brunson's free throws, even though he's shooting 82%?"
Yeah, I think we're wrong to be concerned with it.
I do feel a little like I'm not as comfortable like with him going to the line lately. I just feel like some games he hits every shot, some games he'll miss like 3 out of 4, and I'm like, what is happening?
Did you notice last in the Magic game there was a technical and Towns instead of Brunson shot the free throw.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I was like Brunson always shoots the free throw. That's interesting that like he just let Towns go shoot it. Anyway, he's averaging 25 points a game, down from 28 from last season, but of course that makes sense because like we have more guys that can score. He's averaging a career high 7.7 assists a game. The assist numbers seem like they're going up. If you look at the splits, November versus December, he generally is on a trend where let's find the trend. By the way, his plus minus in the season, Brunson, is 7.8. So it's very solid plus minus.
Yeah.
And generally, his numbers, scoring's a little bit down since from 20 almost 27 a game to 22 a game from November to December. His assist numbers were higher in November, and they were 8. Now they're 7. And generally, his shooting. I mean, his shooting for December is 77%, so it's slightly down from like it was 84% in November.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, having a very good season. What grade do you give him? Brunson's also like works hard on defense, never going to be an amazing defender. What do you say generally? What's your grade here?
I feel like on paper it all looks better, and then the eye test, I'm like, it just doesn't look as impressive. So it's a hard one.
His passing game is a lot better.
It is.
He's really setting his teammates up a lot better.
And I'm very happy about that because that was our big gripe. Like, love the guy. I mean, diehard Brunson fans, but we were always like, yeah, you don't need to go like 1-on-5 multiple times a game.
Right.
So.
He's definitely passing more. He definitely, like, guys are cutting also. Like, Bridges especially. Like, he's great at cutting.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Brunson is finding the open man. He's really becoming not a pass-first point guard, but definitely more of a point guard.
He listened to Marc and Jay episode 518, and he's like, yeah. Good points, guys.
Yes, it was. He gave a shout out to us on that episode of his podcast. We haven't listened to. That's the one episode that we haven't heard.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him an A-. I feel like there's still room to get better. I feel like there's more room for him to get better than there is for like Towns. I feel like Towns is almost like peak Towns, and I feel like there's another level for Brunson. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean Brunson's been good. I mean all the numbers back up him being really good. I mean I don't know. Like the eye test says to me like sometimes he hasn't been like. It also seems like it's been like. It seems like he has to work. You would expect Towns to really open things up for him, and sometimes I feel like he's working too hard to get a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like he comes down the court and you have so many guys you can pass to, and sometimes he's just like going down the court with the mind of like, I have to score here. I have to score here.
Agreed.
A little too much hero ball at times, but generally, I don't know, his assist numbers are there. He is setting his teammates up. He is awesome. A-. Okay, let's move on to the next player. So we think pretty highly here. Mikal Bridges. The first one that we're gonna maybe, I don't know if we're gonna disagree here. But he's not getting an A, I assume.
No.
I'm gonna read you the numbers here.
Quickly.
Okay.
I just feel like if we do this for every player, this could be a 2-hour show.
Okay. He's averaging 38 minutes a game.
Just going back. For the first time, the Ringers NBA player rankings has Brunson in the top 10.
Ooh, not bad. It's Towns in the top 10 also?
No.
Ooh, interesting. Okay,
they have Towns at 19, if you're wondering.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say of the two more, we said before, Towns is pretty awesome. Brunson's the more valuable player for the Knicks. but they're both obviously very important.
Yeah, Towns is trending up, though. They had him 32nd before the season. Near the end of November, they had him at 28th, and now he's at 19th. So he's trending
I
up.
think he just needs to take over more games on offense. That's my big thing here. Bridges, so he's 38 minutes a game, which seems kind of ridiculous. 48% from the field, which is a lot better than last year. Actually, 48% from the field is the best he's shot since he was on the Phoenix. 34% from three, the lowest percentage of his career, basically, since his first season.
But I bet if you looked at the November-December splits, December's
Yeah, I'm going
trending
to check
up.
that in a second. He's averaging 17 points a game. His free throw shooting, he doesn't go to line at all, almost none. But he's shooting 65% from the free throw line, but he also barely shoots any free throws, less than one a game.
Didn't he go like
3.5
15 games without shooting a free throw?
He went like a really ridiculous amount. He's not turning the ball over. Generally, his shooting has been. It's really his 3-point shooting has not been great. But you want to check out the splits? What do you think the split is on 3-point shooting percentage from November to December? That's the big one here.
So you said he's at 34, right?
He's at 33.39.
Yeah, I think he was like, I'm going to guess like 27 in November and December like 38.
Okay. He was at 29% for November, gross, and December, 42%.
Yeah. So
Looking fine. His shooting, December's only been 7 games, but he's shooting 56% from the field in December. His shooting's been good. 21 points a game. Mikhail fixed his shot.
yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go a solid B for Mikhail.
By the way, he's a plus 7.4.
That's very good.
On off the court rating.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give him a B. Obviously, a rough start, but the last couple of weeks he's been looking really good. And
Defense has been getting better.
it has. Everything was pretty bad in November, but everything looks good in December. So if he keeps trending this way, we could readjust our grades at the halfway mark.
Fine. I'm in with your B. Generally, I was hoping this would be something where the team would gel, so to speak, in 2 weeks, then 20 games. It's going to take basically months for the team to really hit peak playing together.
Yeah, they're clearly one player short.
Clearly, but I thought Mikal Bridges was the one player they were short. That's why they traded 800 first rounders for him.
Well, I mean, they lost 3 guys from their rotation.
If you factor in the picks they traded for Bridges and initial expectations, he's probably like a C+ in grade. I'm gonna lower his grade. He's been good lately, but he hasn't been the game changer that the Knicks for the picks the Knicks traded for him. You kind of thought he'd be a game changer, not a guy that's maybe slightly better than Dante.
But I mean, picks aside, they lost 4 of their rotation guys, and they only added 2, right? 2.
Yeah, well, they lost Dante. They lost iHeart, Dante, Randall, and
Boggs.
Oh,
He was part of the
Bogdanovich?
rotation. I mean, you got to
he
count
was
him.
he was only here for a half hour, and he was injured most of the time.
Yeah,
Like,
but he was like a guy who, when he was healthy, was getting 20 minutes a game. So you got to.
but he was only getting that because everyone was injured.
Okay, but still, I'm just saying, like, they have better players, but they have
Burks. How are you going to replace Alec Burks?
they have better players, but they have less players. That's the problem.
Okay, yeah. Well, they have rookies that the coach doesn't seem to really want to play, and also like Campaign and Deuce kind of feel. I mean, they're different but similar. Mm-hmm. They're not like.
Well, they're both
sort
like
of-
undersized guards who play really good defense.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Landry Shamet is also an undersized guard.
He's maybe an undersized wing.
How tall is Landry Shamet?
I'm gonna guess. We did this already, didn't we? Isn't he?
We
He's
did this
shorter.
already. I think
He's
I
shorter
think
than
we
we thought he
talked
was.
about-
I thought he was like
was-
6'6". He's probably
He's 6'4".
yeah. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, he's not like huge. TJ Warren is 6'8". Again, just bring him up. Bring him up. I don't know why not.
Yeah.
By the way, how did I didn't look. How did Shamet do in his debut with West?
It was okay. It was like something like 10, 4-3 or something like that. It was fine.
Okay, well, I mean that's really a top-notch talent.
I mean, he's
Top-notch
coming off of a
competition.
bad shoulder injury. Like, it's his first game back.
Okay, I mean, yes, you're right. It's his first game back, so really, you can't really give him crap for it.
I mean, he's back like a month earlier than expected. So, yeah.
Fair. This is the game on Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In that game, I bet he doesn't do jack. I bet he didn't do that much, and I bet where's the box? Oh, I bet T.J. Warren had a pretty good game because that's what he does. So T.J. Warren in that game had 8 for 12, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 for 4 from 3. Pretty good. The guy we're waiting on, Landry Shamet, was 4 for 10. And he's shorter. Just bring Warren up. Shamet's not a great defender.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that's the position they need to. They don't need another guard. Like, they need a wing.
They need someone bigger. OG has been, his defense has been phenomenal.
His offense has even looked better than I thought it was going to.
OG is shooting 47% from the field, which is pretty solid. 35% from 3, could be a little higher.
Yeah.
He is shooting. He's getting 5 rebounds a game, which he's rebounding for. If he's playing your power forward position, I might want a couple more rebounds.
Yeah.
At least 7 a game.
I really feel like he should be at the 3, though.
Yeah, I mean that's true too. It's really that like you're playing him at the 4 because Towns is at the 5, and really the Knicks kind of lack a 4 then, I guess.
Ihart leaving like screwed up this entire season.
Really did, because Towns is the 4, and you just need a center next to Towns basically. If Mitch being injured plus Ihart leaving has really just screwed things up for us.
Yeah.
Precious is back. It's helpful. Anyway, but he's averaging 1.5 steals, 1.2 blocks. Which I thought those numbers would be higher because he seems like
That's very
he's
good.
He's having some
though.
pretty good games on defense.
That's very like steals like league leader is like 2 point something. Like it's
that's true. Yeah, generally having a very good season. More game. His 3-point shooting could be a little better. I would think that's the one thing.
Yeah.
He's at plus 8.7. All the Knicks starters have a positive plus minus.
Pretty high one too. Yeah.
His numbers, so here's what's trending down. In November, he shot almost 40% from 3. In December, 30%.
Mm-hmm.
He's been clanking a lot of threes.
Yep.
He's shooting, ever since that 40-point game, his shooting has been just worse.
Yeah.
I am going to give him a solid B+. He's been really good. Still could be better.
I'm giving him an A-. His defense is still absolutely insane.
Best defender on the team. Absolutely.
He would have got an A+ if we did this like 2 weeks ago. Went a little cold on offense, but so far, knock on wood, he's been healthy. He's been defending the hell out of the game, and I really don't have any complaints for OG.
Yeah, I mean, he could doing his on offense. He could do a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. He's also, as far as rebound, he's also playing. He's a 3. He's 100% a 3. And the Knicks, in some ways, are playing. Is he the 4, or is it Josh Hart the 4? Or I don't know. I don't know who actually is playing the 4 there, but
I don't know. Whoever it is, they're undersized.
Yeah, they're undersized. Okay, Josh Hart. Josh Hart seems to do everything. He's shooting wise. He's almost shooting 60% from the field. He finishes. He's been awesome finishing at the rim. 40% from 3. 6 rebounds a game. Very solid for whatever position he plays. 8 rebounds a game. Very solid for whatever position he plays. 5.5 assists a game also, which is pretty darn good. Josh Hart has been really good. Awesome. The only critique I'd say on offense is that maybe he could still be like, he could look to score a little more, but he's been better about that this season, like less passing up of shots.
And he's playing about 57 minutes a game.
He's playing about 57 minutes a game, yes. He is averaging, I missed that thing. I meant to say that. God damn it. His
I'm going to
minutes
guess
per game,
39.
It does seem like that. 30, almost 37, 36.8, which
It's actually less than I thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Joshua. I'm gonna give him an A. Like he really does everything.
I'm giving him an A plus. He's averaging career highs in multiple stats. He's doing everything. He's grabbing 8 rebounds, playing undersized in a position. I mean, he's passing the ball just awesome, and his shooting, which was the big knock on him, he's been shooting great. So, I mean,
Yeah, his shooting number like so he shot 40% from three in November and December. He's shooting 50% from three.
yeah, that's insane.
In theory, obviously he could shoot a little more, but he's distributing the ball. Like,
If he's gonna shoot that efficiently, like let him just do that. I mean,
you don't
last
need
season
him
he
to
shot
take
what,
over
like
games.
34 from three. Like,
The year before, though, he shot pretty well. When from the trade deadline on, after the Knicks traded for him, he shot
Yeah.
really well from three. He just last year he was terrible.
yeah,
And plus 6.4. All the Knicks starters have a have a positive plus minus. It's that when we leave the starters, it gets bad. Okay, so Deuce, and Deuce, are we going to knock him a little bit for missing games? He hasn't missed that much, but he's missed some games.
it was just a handful. I'm still giving him an A. He's definitely taken a leap. Like he's way better than he was last season.
Way better. I mean, well, he was pretty good post trade, but he definitely looks better.
Yeah, now we're like awesome. Deuce is in. It's not like I hope we get good Deuce tonight. It's like I'm surprised when he misses shots at this point. Like
I mean,
he's
the
that good.
rotation really looks like there's 7 guys now. Like now that Precious is back, you're like Precious is solidly in the rotation. Deuce is solidly. You have no problem when he's on the court. It's once you leave that, Shamit, and then from there, obviously there's no one else that seems to play with any regularity.
Payne.
Deuce.
Payne, not Shamit.
Oh, Payne. Sorry, Payne. Deuce is averaging 44% from the field, 42% from three on almost 5 threes a game. Very solid. He is 10. He's averaging like 2.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 10 points a game from the bench. Like 10 points a game from the bench is pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean he's only playing what 20 minutes a game. It's not bad. At all.
He is playing. I mean, yeah, he's playing 25 minutes a game, which is again, he's not the
He's like the fourth
bench player.
option.
Does not need to.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to play 30 minutes. 25 minutes is like the perfect amount of minutes for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, I guess I'd give him an A minus. I don't know. I'm not giving him. He's been really good. I'm just not ready to give him an A. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
His plus minus also is plus 9.2. That's the highest on the team so far, actually.
wow. Okay.
So he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
You want to check out the campaign?
Yeah. So the grade's going to go down a little
Okay,
bit. from
campaign
here.
is where the grades might go down a little bit.
Weirdest
Yeah.
shot.
So Payne, weirdest shot I've ever seen. He's averaging 17 minutes a game, which is a little bit lower. If anything, like I guess also you can only play so many undersized guards.
yeah.
He's shooting 41% from three, 43% from the field, 7 points a game. He's getting 3 assists a game, which is solid from the bench. His defense has been all right. I mean, really, based on what Shamit does, like he's contributed. He's averaging also an 8.2 plus. I guess is the whole team a positive plus minus?
Probably. I'm gonna.
I guess,
Well, I
guess
mean,
they are. It's
the
just
Knicks.
everyone's a positive plus minus for the team.
The Knicks are as a team are 6.3, which is I think 6th in the league. So, yeah, pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, when you say a player is like a +6, is that's for the whole season? Or no, that can't
The
be.
whole
Right?
he's a plus 8.2. That's the whole season, basically, on off the court.
Okay.
What?
I just feel like if you're winning each game by
I'd
like
say,
6 points, wouldn't a starter after 20 games be like? I guess in the losses it goes down, but I don't know.
Yeah, you get like negatives for losses. I don't
No, but
know.
I like. Does that mean like somebody on like Cleveland is like +50 or something?
Do you want to check?
I mean, if you have the list readily available, I'm
I
gonna.
mean, I can Google.
I don't know what you're looking at, so
Okay, so I'm on Basketball Reference.
like I'm guessing Jokic
Donovan
is
Mitchell,
like crazy too.
Okay, so Donovan Mitchell, his splits are. Let's see what his plus minus is for the season. Because you assume Cleveland obviously is winning every game. His plus minus apparently is incalculable because they don't have it on here.
Okay.
Give me someone else on Cleveland. Jared Allen.
Uh, sure. I would have went with Garland, but okay.
Okay. Oh, who gives? Okay. Let's just see Jared Allen's. I don't know why it wouldn't have been like calculated on here. Okay, so I guess they're not I guess you can't calculate it on Cleveland. I don't know why.
So I looked it up on StatMuse. Shea is a plus 306. So you're looking at average.
Wait, then
You're looking at average because
I'm
Mikal
looking at
Bridges.
average. Yes,
Mikal
I'm
Bridges
looking
is
at
second
average,
with
yes.
plus 285, and Towns is a
Okay,
plus
yes.
270. He's third.
That makes more sense. I'm looking at the average.
So the Knicks' entire starting lineup is in the top 10.
Do you have the top 10 right there?
Yeah.
Read the top 10.
Shea, Bridges, Towns, Derek White, Mobley, OG, Donovan Mitchell, Hart, Tatum, and Brunson.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, that's because the bench plays no minutes. So, like,
Right. The bench plays no minutes. The Knicks have had a bunch. I mean, they also got crushed by Celtics, but most of their losses are pretty close, and they've had a bunch of blowouts on the win side.
yeah.
I guess the big thing here is that I feel like the Knicks' competition hasn't been amazing. That's really what comes down. There aren't that many really big wins. Like you beat like a Magic team that's missing two of their two best guys. You blew them out last week, but they were missing. They're still missing Paolo. You beat Denver, which is great, but you have a lot of victories against teams that are just crappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm going to give Payne a B, by the way. We never gave her
whatever.
credit.
Okay, I'm giving Payne a B minus. I don't know, and I'm giving it a little lower than you, but he's been solid.
I just had almost no expectations going in, so the fact that he's like had a couple good games, that's why my grade's a little higher.
I'm not even going to look up Sims' stats. I'm going to give Sims a C minus. He's been playing adequate defense. He's a total liability in offense, and I don't believe the numbers on his defense, on his rim protection.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I think also Precious hasn't been back long enough to really. It's incomplete, but B, he could be doing a little more on offense. Generally, his defense looks good. He's generally like working his way back in. It's only been a week, so
Yeah.
but I'm super excited he's back.
The Knicks just needed reinforcements in general, so
Yeah. And the rookies, Kolek, I was hoping to be better right away. Obviously, all the rookies looked like rookies, basically. Maybe Huckporty's the most ready to play, mostly because the Knicks just need help at center. Well, not with Precious healthy, they don't need him, but without Precious, they needed his help.
Yeah, the problem is their two leading rookies are Kolek and Huckporty, which there's already serviceable backups. Maybe you could move Daddier to like a 2 or a 3 spot. Like
Daddy would be the only guy that would he was the guy that would need he was the guy the most logical guy to play just based on he has actual size.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's a big guard. I don't know. He's having some good games in Westchester. Maybe pepper some minutes in for him because the Knicks need somebody with size coming off the bench.
I'm gonna say so. Daddy is 6'7". He looks solid on like one-on-one defense. Team defense probably is not there yet because like it's a lot to learn the NBA team defense. How we just play TJ Warren? Let Daddy play more in Westchester and have the guys already cooking in Westchester play in the NBA.
I mean, try it. You know,
Yeah.
Like there's no penalty for trying it.
It just seems like the Knicks need one more player would be very helpful. Overall, overall B plus in terms of my happiness with the team right now. Good. The defense is just concerning me, but generally they're looking good.
Yeah. I was like really, really over the moon high on this team before the season started. Now I'm like happy with the team, but I'm not like, oh my God, they're going to win it all now. So
in January, you're like, could this team win the title? Then the offseason happens. You lose Hart, and you're like, oh. But then you get Towns, you get like You get Mikal Bridges, you're like, maybe this team could really be like awesome. I'm now like, will we get to the second round?
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah, but that's
The
not
team's
the
not
goal.
firing on all cylinders. It does not seem like they're firing on all cylinders. That's all.
Yeah.
They got a test coming up very soon. Thursday, tomorrow, they are playing Randall and Devo.
That's going to be a fun one.
That's going to be kind of awesome. I'm very excited for that game.
Yeah.
It is going to be so weird watching Randall dribble the air out of the ball on another team.
I mean, they are the number one defense right now, so
Are they?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow. So a team with Randall somehow like is considered a top-notch defense. That's interesting.
Weird. It's almost like they blew his defense out of proportion in New York.
Yes, that might be the case.
Either that or
before
Towns
next-
was so bad that Randall's just an improvement.
Or just having an elite rim protector makes everyone else look better in Gobert.
Could be.
I think that makes a big difference. Hopefully, one day we'll see Mitch next to Towns and see if that experiment could work in New York. Okay, so then between I am not. By the way, next show is up in the air in terms of next week. Are you going to do a show without me, Jay? Next week?
Oh, you going on? You got to get your 10th vacation of the year in?
I'm going skiing next week. We are gone from Sunday to coming back Thursday. And I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't know if I'll be even back in time on Thursday night to record.
Okay, so there's a chance we could have 7 games, 8 games before next episode.
Or you could just do a show without me.
Yeah.
But let's just do the next 4 games in terms of predictions. Minnesota, New Orleans, Toronto, and San Antonio. Minnesota, they're going to be extra pumped for this game. They're going to beat Minnesota, right?
They got to, yeah.
Okay. New Orleans looks like hot garbage, so that's a win.
Yep.
Toronto, by the way, this is crazy. You're playing Randall then Barrett in the same week.
Right.
Got to be Toronto and Wemby for Christmas. We're going 4-0.
I think so.
For 3-1.
I think so.
I think I mean there'll be a loss. There'll be one loss here, but Knicks can definitely go 3-1 in this schedule. I am also like the Knicks can solve Wemby. I am not worried about Wemby.
And the 4 after that is Orlando twice against Washington and Utah. So the Knicks could really get some steam going into the new year.
I'm hearing that Wagner and Paolo are both going to be miraculously ready for that game on the 27th.
Right.
They'll go back to the injured list right afterwards, but they'll be ready for that one game.
So the Knicks could be riding a 9-game win streak going into the new year, where Oklahoma City just puts us back in our place.
But yeah, you're right. Orlando, Washington, Utah. Wow, this next 8 games are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The Knicks have a chance to really kind of run up those wins.
Yeah, if they're not at least 6-2, I don't know. Might not be the most positive
You gotta
episode.
get wins here. You got it. This is an easy part of the schedule. You really gotta get like these wins.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to take advantage of the streaks
Yeah.
like that, because then there's some harder streaks coming up after that. So, yeah, got to get the wins when they're there on the schedule.
they're scheduled wins.
Yes. So nyknickspodcast at gmail.com.
Just ESPN always shows like the tickets as low as, and so if you want to go to the Knicks versus San Antonio at MSG, tickets as low as $210. If you want to see them versus Toronto, tickets as low as $180. If you want to see the Knicks at New Orleans, tickets as low as $5.
It's so unfair.
It is crazy. Okay, that's our show.
All right. nyknickspodcast at gmail.com. nyknickspodcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. You can join our Discord in the show notes, and we will be back soon.
Soonish, yes. We will be back
Soonish.
soon. We will figure out a show around Christmas.
Or we'll say eventually. We'll be back eventually.
Eventually. Eventually.
All right. Thanks
By
for
the way,
listening.
Jay gives me crap. Jay's like, you're going on your 5th vacation. As I was the one that was in Thailand for 3.5 months.
I go away once a year for 2 weeks. Anyway, we'll talk to you soon. We'll also be doing our comedy podcast, The Brink of Sanity, tomorrow. So you can check that out. Brink of Sanity 3 on Twitter, at Brink of Sanity on Facebook and YouTube. And yeah, so check that out. And we'll talk to you soon.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away.
I'm gonna leave you.
It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.
Feels so good to say goodbye.
I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl.
Goodbye, 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 everybody.
Did you forget the Twitter questions?
Completely forgot. Oh my god.
Well, got some post-credit Twitter questions for you. Lavery
Yeah,
asks, do we expect too much from this group? Because I don't see the Knicks as title contenders yet.
Yeah, I think we expected it. I mean, no one's so old. Towns is 29. Guys are all in their late 20s. They're all kind of going into their prime. Team probably has a 3-4 year window. I hope we can figure it out this year, but like, if not, like, make some, like, there's still room to improve for next season.
I say no, because they went all in. They're capped out. They used up all
There's
their
no
assets.
room to improve?
Well, that wasn't room for improve. Wasn't the question? Do we expect too
No, I'm
much?
saying there's room to. Did they go too far into this? Did they go all? Did they make a mistake by going all in on this roster? Is that the basic question?
No, if you're gonna like push all your chips in, you expect to win. So, yeah.
Okay, fine. I mean, you could also like, yes, you expect to win. It remains to be seen how far away they are. I mean, you are missing your center, which makes a big difference.
And let's see, base Knicks fan said, "When was the last time a team traded away a nut for a MVP candidate? P.S. If Cap breaks the 3-point record, we're cooked." So, yeah, usually you get back like, well, I don't know. I wouldn't call Randall and Dante a nut.
I mean, Towns looks like he's going to be an All-Star this year, and Randall's going to be at least borderline All-Star also.
Yeah, I think they traded some good stuff. I wouldn't say it was nothing.
Dante's having a bad season, but Dante from last year was really good. I mean, like he's just having a bad year because he hates being in Minnesota because everyone does.
And as if says, "How come you guys haven't gotten sponsors yet? You deserve some." Thank you. We are probably the most ignored podcast on the net. So there you go. We had a DraftKings sponsor a couple years ago, and now we don't.
Now we don't.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.